first used during the Battle of Okinawa on June 9, 1945, where it proved devastatingly effective against Japanese bunkers and cave complexes that had previously required point-blank assault with flamethrowers and satchel charges. The production rate at Dominion Engineering Works reached 100 units per week by April 1945, with quality control standards that rejected any barrel with bore variations exceeding 0.002 inches, any cartridge case with fewer than 398 or more than 402 perforations, and any optical sight that could maintain zero after 500 rounds. Standards that German industry, disrupted by bombing and material shortages, could never match even if they had possessed the technology. German Field Marshal Albert Kesselring, commanding Army Group C in Italy, issued a classified assessment on April 15, stating that the M18 had rendered the Panzerfaust obsolete overnight, and that German forces were psychologically defeated by the weapon's range advantage, noting that soldiers equipped with Panzerfaust were refusing direct orders to advance. The training differential between the two weapon systems highlighted American advantages in simplicity and effectiveness, with M18 crews becoming proficient after 4 hours of instruction covering basic operation, range estimation, and ammunition selection. While Panzerfaust training required extensive practice in judging distances, approach routes, and firing angles, skills that became irrelevant when American teams could engage from beyond visual identification range, making German training investments worthless overnight. Captain Michael Sullivan of the 3rd Infantry Division's Weapons Company calculated that a single M18 team could control approximately 700,000 square meters of terrain from one firing position, compared to the theoretical 28,000 square meters a Panzerfaust team could cover. A 25-to-1 advantage that did not account for the psychological effect of being engaged by an enemy you could not see or reach. Sullivan's analysis concluded that one M18 team had more anti-tank capability at range than an entire German company equipped with Panzerfaust. Japanese Colonel Hiroshi Yamamoto, military attaché in Berlin, witnessed a captured M18 demonstration on April 2nd and immediately cabled Tokyo. American 57mm Recoilless rifle invalidates all anti-tank doctrine. Engagement range 450 meters versus Panzerfaust 60 meters. Japanese lunge mines and satchel charges will be useless. Soldiers will die at 500 meters before reaching attack distance. Recommend immediate peace negotiations before weapon deploys to Pacific Theater. The logistical footprint of the M18 system proved another American advantage, with each two-man team typically carrying 12 rounds in modified M6 rocket bags originally designed for bazooka ammunition, providing sustained firepower. While German soldiers could carry at most 3 or 4 Panzerfausts due to their bulk, and since each Panzerfaust was single-shot disposable, German soldiers often found themselves defenseless after their first engagement, while American teams could continue fighting. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison Burke of the 513th Parachute Infantry Regiment reported that during the Rhine crossing, his battalion's 12 M18 teams accounted for more enemy vehicles and fortifications destroyed than all other weapons combined, engaging at average ranges of 350 meters while suffering 0 casualties among the recoilless rifle crews. A stark contrast to the nearly 100% casualty rate among German Panzerfaust teams who attempted to close within engagement range. The Soviet military observer, Colonel Ivan Petrov, present at the Elbe River meeting on April 25th, immediately recognized the M18's implications for future warfare. Reporting to Moscow, Americans have solved recoilless rifle problem with elegant simplicity. Perforated case design superior to German or Soviet concepts. Weapon makes Panzerfaust and our captured stocks obsolete. Must acquire examples for reverse engineering immediately or accept tactical inferiority in future conflicts. Brazilian Expeditionary Force units in Italy received M18 rifles in mid-April and found them particularly effective in mountain warfare, where Major Paulo Santos used one to destroy an observation post at 600 meters, well beyond the weapon's rated anti-tank range, but within its area target capability. demonstrating versatility that the single-purpose Panzerfaust could never match. Santos reported, "This weapon transforms infantry into artillery. We can engage targets German weapons cannot reach." The white phosphorus rounds proved particularly effective in urban combat, as Corporal David Miller of the 29th Infantry Division discovered in Bremen, using M308 rounds to create instant smoke screens that blinded German Panzerfaust teams, then switching to high explosive to eliminate their positions from 300 meters. Tactics that turned city fighting from costly close combat into methodical position reduction from safe distances. Finnish military observer Major Paavo Hattala documented the M18's impact during the final German collapse, noting that shock units were abandoning caches of Panzerfaust rather than carry them into combat, considering them suicide weapons against American forces. Hattala's report to Helsinki stated, "Finland's 25,000 German-supplied Panzerfaust are now obsolete. We must acquire American recoilless rifle technology or accept permanent tactical disadvantage." The economic comparison between the weapon systems revealed American efficiency versus German desperation, with each M18 costing $200 to manufacture and capable of firing hundreds of rounds over its service life. While each Panzerfaust cost 30 Reichsmarks and provided exactly one shot, meaning even in purely financial terms, the American system provided superior cost-effectiveness while requiring fewer resources to maintain combat readiness. Marine Gunnery Sergeant Robert Jackson's team on Okinawa used M18 rifles to systematically clear Japanese cave complexes from standoff distances, firing white phosphorus rounds to drive defenders from caves, then sealing entrances with high explosive rounds from 300 meters. Tactics that would have required costly close assault with flamethrowers and demolitions before the M18 arrived. Jackson noted, "This weapon saves Marine lives by keeping us out of Japanese killing zones." The optical sight manufactured by Bosch and Lohm provided another technological advantage, with coated lenses reducing glare and improving target acquisition in difficult lighting conditions, allowing Sergeant Anthony Rodriguez of the 1st Infantry Division to engage a German assault gun at 400 meters in early morning fog near Paderborn. Conditions where the assault gun commander could not even identify the source of incoming fire before his vehicle was destroyed by 3 rapid shots from Rodriguez's M18. Polish forces of the Second Corps in Italy immediately recognized the M18's superiority when they received them in April, with Lieutenant Stanislaw Kowalski noting the historical irony. In 1939, German technology crushed our cavalry. Now we advance using American weapons that make German Panzerfaust look equally obsolete. Watching German soldiers flee from weapons they cannot match provides some small justice for Warsaw. The manufacturing process at Dominion Engineering demonstrated North American industrial coordination at its finest, with raw steel arriving from Pittsburgh on Monday, machined into barrels by Wednesday, assembled with components from across the continent by Friday, and shipped to ports for transport to Europe within 7 days of raw material arrival. A production speed that German industry, even at its pre-war peak, could never have achieved. The M18's deployment proved psychologically devastating to German forces who recognized they faced technological obsolescence, though this factor was overshadowed by the atomic bombs that represented an even greater technological disparity. The post-war United States Strategic Bombing Survey concluded that the M18 had invalidated German infantry anti-tank doctrine within weeks of deployment, creating psychological collapse in German units that recognized their technological impotence, with capture documents showing that units equipped with M18 rifles advanced 3 times faster than those using conventional weapons, directly shortening the war and saving thousands of Allied lives. The Chinese Civil War saw both nationalist and communist forces desperately seeking M18 technology, with the communists eventually producing the Type 36 copy. Though early versions suffered catastrophic metallurgical failures, demonstrating that American manufacturing expertise was inseparable from the weapon's success, a lesson that would influence military procurement for generations. The Korean War proved the M18's continued relevance, with veterans noting its effectiveness against North Korean T-34 tanks when properly employed. Though by then the United States Army was fielding improved recoilless rifles based on lessons learned, understanding that technological superiority required constant innovation rather than resting on past achievements. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring wrote in his memoirs, "The American M18 recoilless rifle taught us that in modern war, the nation with superior weapons and the industry to produce them will defeat the nation with braver soldiers. Because courage cannot overcome physics when the enemy can kill you from beyond your ability to respond." Swiss military historian Hans Delbrück analyzed the weapons disparity in 1946. The M18 versus Panzerfaust comparison perfectly encapsulates the American way of war, using technological superiority and industrial might to minimize friendly casualties, while maximizing enemy losses, transforming warfare from individual heroism to systematic application of overwhelming firepower from safe distances. The last documented use of a World War II-era Panzerfaust occurred in Syria in 2015, where rebels used museum pieces against government forces, while the M18's design principles continue influencing modern weapons like the Carl Gustav recoilless rifle still serving NATO forces, proving that good engineering transcends generations while desperate improvisations become historical curiosities. Former Panzerfaust designer Heinrich Langweiler, hired by the United States Army in 1947, examined the M18 and reportedly said, "We spent years trying to extend the Panzerfaust's range to 100 meters while you were already shooting at 500 meters. We were solving the wrong problem. Your perforated case solution was so elegantly simple. It makes our complex efforts look primitive." By May 8, 1945, when Germany surrendered, the M18 recoilless rifle had proven that American industrial capability combined with pragmatic engineering could produce weapons that did not just match enemy systems, but completely transcended them, turning the once feared Panzerfaust into a symbol of technological obsolescence and demonstrating that in modern warfare, the nation that can rapidly develop, mass-produce, and deploy superior weapons will defeat the nation that relies on courage alone. Because physics and industrial might ultimately determine battlefield outcomes, not individual heroism. The M18 represented more than just a weapon system. It embodied the American approach to warfare, leveraging technological innovation, manufacturing excellence, and systematic problem-solving to achieve overwhelming tactical advantages. Where German forces improvised with desperation weapons, American industry delivered elegant solutions that fundamentally changed combat dynamics, proving that superior engineering and industrial capacity would define victory in the modern age.